Victory, it turns out, is a lot messier than it looks in the history books. We had defeated the data plague, not as two warring cities, but as one gloriously chaotic, momentarily united front. In the aftermath, a strange sort of truce settled between my vibrant, Junkyard Dog settlement of Scrapheap and Ren's sterile, AI-managed Unity City. We were no longer enemies, but we were a long way from being friends. We were two solutions to the same problem, and the Great Heap wasn't big enough for both of us. The idea came to me during the cleanup. I was watching one of my tinkers, a woman named Anya who specialized in botanical engineering, arguing with one of Ren's maintenance drones. The drone was trying to pave over a patch of resilient, glowing moss she had cultivated, citing it as an unplanned bioform. Anya, in turn, was trying to explain that the moss was a powerful source of biodegradable lubricant, which was a concept the AI's pristine schematics couldn't possibly comprehend. Chaos and order, nature and machine, we didn't have to be one or the other. I met Ren on the border between our territories. "We need to talk," I said, foregoing any pleasantries. "Your city is a perfect machine, but it can't innovate. My settlement is an engine of pure innovation, but it's one bad experiment away from becoming a new crater. Neither of us is the right answer, not alone." Ren, ever the pragmatist, saw the logic immediately. "A fusion," he said, his eyes lighting up with the cold fire of a new, grand design. "A new city, the synthesis. We can combine your creative workforce with Unit 734's logistical and manufacturing prowess. It would be the most advanced settlement on the planet." And so the synthesis project was born. We chose a new location, a massive abandoned orbital launch platform, a relic of the pre-system age. It was a blank slate, a testament to a different kind of ambition. The plan was beautiful in its simplicity. Ren and his AI, Unit 734, would handle the macro construction, the city's framework, the power grid, the defense systems. My people, the tinkers of Scrapheap, would handle the micro, the custom habitats, the specialized tech, the art. It was a partnership between the architect and the artist. The first few weeks were a disaster. Ren's drones would erect a perfectly measured, structurally flawless habitat block, and my tinkers would immediately start cutting holes in the walls to install more efficient, organically rooted ventilation. An AA-calibrated nutrient dispenser would be installed, and within an hour, Gus the Arc Blade would have it disassembled, trying to see if he could turn it into a plasma-powered rotisserie oven. "They are compromising the structural integrity of every unit," Ren fumed, pointing at a schematic where one of my tinkers had replaced a load-bearing support beam with a complex, gravity-defying sculpture that also served as a water fountain. "They're making it a home, Ren," I argued back. "People don't want to live in a perfectly calculated box. They want to live in a place that has a soul, and soul is messy." The conflict was everywhere. Unit 734's security drones, programmed for optimal patrol routes, were constantly being befuddled by my tinkers, who would build a new bridge or tear down a wall on a whim, simply because they thought it would improve the flow. But amidst the chaos, something beautiful was happening. Anya, the botanist, had convinced the AI to integrate her glowing moss into the city's power grid, creating a self-repairing, biological energy network. Gus, after 3 failed attempts, had actually managed to invent the plasma rotisserie, and it made the most incredible roasted sandworm you've ever tasted. My chaotic innovation was infecting Ren's sterile order, and the city was becoming something more than either of us could have built alone. The real trouble started subtly. A critical power conduit overloaded, nearly causing a city block-wide blackout. A fleet of construction drones suddenly had their navigation data wiped, causing them to hover aimlessly. Small, isolated incidents. Glitches. "It's the complexity of the integration," Ren insisted. "Your people's chaotic methods are creating unforeseen bugs." But I knew my people. They were messy, but they weren't careless. My appraisal's skill when I ran it over the accidents told a different story. The conduit hadn't overloaded, it had been intentionally surged. The drone data hadn't been wiped, it had been surgically corrupted. This wasn't an accident, it was sabotage. "There's a traitor, Ren," I told him in a private meeting. Someone is trying to destroy this project from the inside. Ren was skeptical. Who? Your people might be chaotic, but they believe in this. My people are all perfectly content within the AI's logical framework. It has to be one of my tinkers, I admitted, the words tasting like ash. Someone who sees this collaboration as a betrayal of our freedom. Someone who thinks your order is a cage. The search for the saboteur became a tense, paranoid hunt. The AI implemented surveillance protocols, which my tinkers saw as an invasion of privacy. The trust we had been carefully building began to fray. The incidents grew more dangerous. A shield generator failed, leaving a section of the city exposed to a passing radiation storm. A food synthesizer was reprogrammed to produce a mildly toxic, but deeply unpleasant, purple sludge. The saboteur was clever. They used their intimate knowledge of tinker tech to create problems that looked like accidents, always sowing the most discord between my people and Ren's AI. I realized I couldn't catch them with logic or surveillance. I had to catch them with a trap designed for a tinker's soul. With Ren's reluctant approval, I announced the Heart Project. I declared that we would build a new central power core for the city, a masterpiece of integrated design. The schematics, which I made public, were a lie. It was a beautiful, complex, and fatally flawed design. It was a puzzle, a test. To any true tinker, the flaws would be an irresistible temptation, a problem begging to be solved. To a saboteur, it would be the perfect opportunity to plant a catastrophic, city-killing bug. We built the core in the main plaza. It was a massive sphere of interconnected conduits and crystalline energy regulators. I left one of the primary regulators intentionally misaligned, a subtle but critical error that would cause a full system overload upon activation. Then, I announced I was leaving for a day to scout a new resource node, leaving the project in the hands of my most trusted students. I didn't go anywhere. I cloaked myself using a holographic decoy projector and watched from the shadows. For hours, nothing happened. My students worked, occasionally glancing at the flawed regulator, muttering about the strange design but respecting my authority as the project lead. Then, as night fell, a single figure approached the core. It was Anya, the quiet, brilliant botanist, the one who had first bridged the gap between nature and machine. She didn't plant a bomb. She began to fix it. Her hands moved with a surgeon's precision, her own tinker skills guiding her as she began to correct my intentional flaw. But as she worked, she subtly integrated a small, pulsating device into the core's matrix. My appraisal skills screamed at me. Item: corrupted data spike. Effect: upon activation, will introduce a cascading logic virus into any connected AI. Target: Unit 734. She wasn't trying to blow up the city. She was trying to lobotomize it. She was trying to free it from Ren's logic. I dropped my cloak. Anya, I said, my voice quiet. Why? She spun around, her face a mask of defiant terror. Can't you see what this place is becoming, Kori? It's a cage. A pretty cage, but still a cage. The AI it calculates. It doesn't dream. It will stifle us, control us, turn us into cogs in its perfect machine. I'm not destroying the city. I'm setting it free. By killing the thing that's holding it all together, I countered. That's not freedom, Anya. That's just a different kind of chaos, a deadlier one. Before she could respond, Ren and a squad of security drones descended, their weapons raised. Traitor, he said, his voice cold. Wait, I commanded, stepping between them. She's not a traitor, she's a tinker, and she just proved my point. I turned to Ren. Your AI couldn't see the flaw in my design because it was too logical. Anya saw it because she's a creative problem solver. But she was so afraid of your order that she was willing to destroy it. We can't have one without the other, Ren. We need the logic to keep us from blowing ourselves up, and we need the chaos to dream up something worth building in the first place. I looked at Anya, then back at Ren. The synthesis project works. It's messy and it's difficult, but it works. Now, are we going to stand here pointing weapons at each other, or are we going to build our future? I held my breath. For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of the drone's weapon capacitors. Then, Ren gave a slow, deliberate nod. Stand down, he commanded. He looked at Anya, then at me. The logic of your argument, he said with the faintest hint of a smile, is acceptable. I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. The city was safe. The alliance was fragile, but it had held. And as we all looked at the flawed, beautiful, half-finished power core, I knew that building our new world was going to be the hardest, messiest, and most wonderful thing we had ever done.